Imagine for a moment that life is like a storm. Fierce, unpredictable, and often downright terrifying. You didn't see it coming and suddenly you're caught in the middle of it. You feel as though you're losing control, that you're struggling just to keep your head above water. In those moments, it's easy to believe that you're helpless, that the storm is bigger than you, that there's no way to make it through. But here's the thing, you are stronger than you think. Strength isn't about having all the answers or being able to stop the storm. It's about learning how to weather it, how to keep going when everything feels impossible. And believe me, you can. Today, I'm not here to tell you that life will be easy or that pain doesn't exist. What I am here to tell you is that even in your darkest moments, even when the world feels like it's closing in, there are ways to stay strong. I want to share with you how you can rise above the chaos, how you can hold on to hope, and how you can emerge from the storm not only surviving, but stronger, wiser, and more resilient than ever before. When life gets tough, one of the hardest but most important things to do is to acknowledge the pain without letting it define you. There's this misconception that being strong means pretending everything is fine, pushing emotions down, and just carrying on as if nothing happened. But real strength doesn't look like denial. It looks like facing the hard stuff head on. It's about standing there, looking at the wreckage, feeling the hurt, admitting to yourself, yeah, this is hard, this hurts, and letting that be okay. Because if you keep pretending the pain isn't real, it doesn't go away. It just burrows deeper until it shows up somewhere else. Acknowledging your pain doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're honest. It means you respect yourself enough to say, this moment matters. What I'm going through matters. But while you honor the pain, you also remember it's not the whole of you. It's not your name. It's not your future. It's something you're experiencing, not something you are. You can grieve without becoming grief. You can fail without becoming a failure. You can feel lost without being permanently broken. When you understand that difference, you give yourself the space to heal. You give yourself permission to be messy and human without getting stuck in the story that your pain is the final word on who you are. Staying strong isn't about refusing to cry or keeping a brave face at all times. It's about allowing yourself to feel it all and still holding on to the small, steady belief that this moment will not break you entirely. You can sit with your sadness, rage, confusion, or loneliness and still know deep down that there's a version of you that survives this. That version may look different than who you were before. It might be softer in some ways, harder in others. It might be more cautious or a little more reckless, but it will still be you, a you who chose to keep living, even when everything in you wanted to quit. By acknowledging your pain without letting it define you, you take away its power to trap you. You stop making your hardest moments your whole identity. And from there, even if healing is slow, even if progress is invisible at first, you start to move forward, not in spite of your pain, but with it, carrying it as part of your story, not the whole story. When life feels overwhelming and everything seems too big to handle, focusing on small wins every day becomes a powerful tool for staying strong. It's easy to get trapped in the mindset that you have to fix everything all at once, that you have to climb the entire mountain today. But that thinking can paralyze you because the climb looks impossible from the bottom. Instead, strength is built in the tiny moments, the small choices you make that move you forward, even when progress feels invisible. A small win could be something as simple as getting out of bed when you really didn't want to. It could be replying to one email, drinking a glass of water, making yourself a meal, or sending a text to a friend when isolation feels easier. Small wins are powerful because they are doable. They are proof that even in the middle of chaos, you still have agency. You still have some control over your day, over your actions. Even if everything else feels out of control, each small win stacks on top of the next. Maybe at first they seem meaningless. Maybe brushing your hair or stepping outside for 5 minutes feels laughably small compared to the size of the life problems you're facing. But over time, these tiny actions are like laying laying bricks for a new foundation. They rebuild confidence in yourself, confidence that you can handle today and then maybe tomorrow too. It's also important to recognize and celebrate these small wins, not in a forced, fake positivity way, but in an honest acknowledgement that says, that was hard for me and I did it anyway. Celebration doesn't have to be loud or dramatic. It can just be a quiet, proud moment where you recognize your own effort. When you are going through something tough, sometimes surviving the day is a massive accomplishment, even if it doesn't look impressive to anyone else. By focusing on small wins, you shift your perspective away from all the things that are going wrong, all the mountains you haven't climbed yet. You zoom in on what you can do today, even if it's tiny. And when life has knocked you down, reclaiming even a tiny piece of your power matters. It matters more than you think, because small wins create momentum, and momentum, however slow, is what keeps you alive, moving and quietly rebuilding your strength from the inside out. Choosing your mindset every single day is one of the most important ways to stay strong when life gets hard. Mindset isn't something you're born with or something that magically clicks into place once you hit rock bottom. Actually, it's a decision you have to make over and over again, sometimes multiple times in the same day. When everything around you feels like it's falling apart, you might not get to choose your circumstances, but you always get to choose how you respond to them. That choice, as small and powerless as it might feel in the moment, is everything. Choosing your mindset doesn't mean slapping on false positivity or pretending things aren't bad. It's not about denying your pain, anger, or sadness. It's about deciding that even though things are hard, you're going to show up anyway. It's choosing to believe there's still hope even when you can't see it clearly. It's deciding to trust that even the tiniest action today matters in the long run. Some days that choice feels easier. You wake up and you feel a little stronger, a little braver. Other days, the choice feels almost impossible and you have to drag yourself toward it, kicking and screaming inside. That's normal. Strength isn't about never wavering. It's about making the choice anyway, even when it feels like the hardest thing in the world. Sometimes you have to make that choice while you're exhausted, heartbroken, confused, or terrified. Sometimes you have to make it even when nothing around you is getting better yet. That's the truth most people won't tell you. Your circumstances might not change immediately just because you decided to think differently, but you will change. Bit by bit, thought by thought, you become a person who refuses to be defeated by what happened to them. You become someone who can live in the middle of uncertainty, pain, or fear and still carve out space for hope, grit, and courage. Choosing mindset every day is about reclaiming your inner world when the outer world feels uncontrollable. It's a quiet but powerful act of rebellion against despair. It says, I don't have to like what's happening to me, but I will not let it turn me into someone I'm not proud of. It's a practice, not a one-time decision. You won't get it right every day, and that's okay. What matters is that you keep coming back to it, keep choosing to believe that you are capable of more than just surviving. You are capable of growing, even here, even now. Asking for help without shame is one of the bravest things you can do when life gets tough. There's a lot of pressure to be strong, to handle everything on your own, to tough it out in silence, because somewhere along the way, many of us were taught that needing support is a sign of weakness. But the truth is, recognizing when you can't do it alone is actually a mark of incredible strength. It takes courage to be vulnerable. It takes strength to admit you're struggling, to open up about the things you're carrying, to say, I need a hand right now. When you ask for help, you aren't admitting defeat. You're acknowledging your humanity. You are not meant to carry every burden by yourself. No one is. Even the strongest looking people, the ones who seem like they have it all figured out, have moments where they lean on someone else. Behind every strong person is a story of people who showed up, who listened, who offered help in a moment of darkness, and there's nothing shameful about that. The fear of being judged or misunderstood can make it feel terrifying to reach out. You might worry that you'll look weak or that people will think less of you, but real strength isn't about how you're perceived by others. It's about surviving, about healing, about doing whatever you need to do to move forward. Sometimes that means picking up the phone and telling a friend you're not okay. Sometimes it's seeking out a therapist, joining a support group, or even just having a conversation with someone who can remind you that you're not alone in what you're facing. Asking for help creates connection, and connection is often the lifeline we need when everything else feels impossible. It's not about someone swooping in and fixing everything for you. It's about someone standing beside you while you find your way. When you allow yourself to receive support, you also give others the opportunity to show up in meaningful ways. You give them the chance to remind you of your own strength, to hold the hope for you when you're struggling to hold it yourself. There is deep, quiet power in saying, I can't do this alone, and that's okay. There's courage in letting people in trusting that you are worthy of care, and in understanding that asking for help is not the opposite of strength. It's a vital part of it. Finding purpose in the struggle is one of the hardest but most transformative parts of staying strong when life gets tough. Pain by itself can feel meaningless, cruel, and heavy. It can make you question everything about your life, your choices, and even your worth. But when you find even a small sliver of purpose inside the pain, it changes the story you tell yourself about what you're going through. Purpose doesn't erase the hurt, but it gives the hurt a direction, gives it a reason to exist beyond just causing you suffering. It shifts you from being a passive victim of your circumstances to being an active participant in your own recovery. Finding purpose in the struggle doesn't mean you have to turn everything into a big inspirational moment. It doesn't mean you have to be grateful for the bad things that happen to you. It simply means asking yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I grow from this? Who can I help because of what I've been through? Sometimes your purpose is personal, becoming stronger, becoming wiser, becoming more compassionate. Sometimes it's about how you show up for others, sharing your story, offering support to someone else, becoming a voice for those who are still silent. Purpose often starts small. Maybe today it's just the decision to survive, to make it through another hour because you know deep down there is still more for you to experience in life. Maybe it's the decision to turn your pain into creativity or advocacy or kindness. Purpose doesn't mean the pain is justified, but it can make the pain bearable. It can transform something senseless into something meaningful. In the middle of the struggle, it's easy to believe that nothing good could ever come from it. And sometimes the good doesn't show up right away. Sometimes it takes months or years to look back and see the strength you built, the wisdom you gained, or the doors that opened because you fought through the hard seasons. Purpose is not about minimizing what happened to you. It's about reclaiming your power by deciding what you will build from it. Even when you feel broken, finding purpose is a way of saying, this is not the end of my story. This is part of the journey that is shaping who I am becoming. Celebrating the journey and not just the outcome is one of the most important lessons when it comes to staying strong through hard times. It's natural to want a happy ending, to crave that moment when everything finally makes sense or falls into place. But life doesn't always tie itself up neatly with a bow, and if you're only living for the moment when you arrive, you miss the beauty and the strength you are building right now. The journey, the messy, imperfect, uncertain middle is where real transformation happens. It's where you discover how strong, resilient, and courageous you truly are. When you focus only on the final result, you set yourself up to feel like a failure if things don't turn out the way you hoped. Healing doesn't always look like a straight line. Success doesn't always come in the form you expect. Sometimes winning looks like falling down and getting back up over and over again. Sometimes it looks like trying again even when you're terrified. Sometimes it looks like redefining what success even means to you. When you choose to celebrate the small steps, the tiny improvements, the moments you chose to keep going instead of giving up, you give yourself credit for the real work, the inner work that's happening along the way. Strength is forged in the quiet days when no one else sees your struggle. It's built in the moments when you choose hope over despair, effort over giving up, kindness over bitterness. You might not see huge changes day to day, but every choice you make to keep moving forward, no matter how small, matters. Every difficult conversation you have with yourself, every tear you wipe away, and every deep breath you take before facing the next challenge, those are victories too. Celebrating the journey is about recognizing that you are already doing the hard, beautiful work of becoming. It's about understanding that your value doesn't depend on achieving some perfect end result. It's about giving yourself permission to be proud of your effort, your persistence, your growth, even if no one else notices. Because the truth is, the person you are becoming through the struggle is more powerful, more compassionate, and more real than the person you were before it all began. Your strength isn't waiting for you at the finish line. It's being built right now, every single day you choose to keep going. As we've explored today, staying strong when life gets tough doesn't mean having all the answers or never feeling broken. It's about facing your pain, choosing your mindset, leaning on others, finding meaning in the struggle, and celebrating the journey. Each small decision to keep moving forward, even when you don't feel like it, is a powerful act of resilience. You don't need to have everything figured out right now. You don't need to have your whole life back together. Strength is not a destination. It's something you cultivate in the messy, imperfect middle of your story. The storm will pass, and in time you'll look back and see how much you've grown, how much you've learned, and how much more capable you are than you ever thought possible. Remember, every step, no matter how small, counts. The days you feel the weakest are often the ones that build your greatest strength. And the strength that you are developing now will carry you through every storm life throws your way. So keep going. You are stronger than you know, and the best version of yourself is waiting on the other side of this struggle.